Detox 101. So we have endogenous toxins such as recycled vitamins and things that we need to get out of the body, thyroid hormones, and we have exogenous things known as xenobiotics. And those things need to get out. There can be drugs, it can be supplements, it can be heavy metals, it can be chemicals. But basically, they're going to be in your bloodstream right here, right? All these toxins, they need to go into the liver cell, right? So this is a liver cell, and we're just going to, for simplicity's sake, we're going to talk about the liver being the main organ, and it is of detoxification. We won't talk about the kidney. But so these toxins that are hanging out here, they need to go into the liver. That movement into the liver is referred to as phase 0 detoxification. And that was actually just discovered in 2008. So I thought, did I miss something? Because I never heard of that before. But Dr. Brian Walsh talks about phase 0. So it's got to go in through some membrane transporters. And then once it gets inside the cell, the toxin has to go through phase 1 detoxification, which can be oxidation, hydrolysis, and reduction. So that makes it a little bit more reactive. And then we're going to go into phase 2, which is the workhorse of the conjugating enzymes. And you're going to have sulfation, glucuronidation, methylation. All those things are going to hook onto that toxin so that it can be more water soluble and get excreted. So typically after that, the toxin will go into the BC, the bile caniculus, and that's where that toxin is going to flow into your intestine and hopefully hit the toilet, right? So that right there is called phase 3. So the movement 0, 1, and 2, then the toxins move into the bile caniculus. So there's your review. So what I learned, what interesting about a year ago, was that the movement that I just said of those toxins that have gone through phase 2, so they're water soluble, meaning they're ready to be put into the bile because the bile is mostly water. When they're ready to be pushed in from the liver cell into the bile caniculus, they can actually get held up. And that movement right there, it's a 3-part movement. And again, if you want more information on this, I've done a ton of podcasts. Eric and I did a seminar on this, so that's online as well. But that movement of that water-soluble toxin, it goes through the MRP2 transport protein channel. So it's like a door. So the door opens, and then the toxin will go into the bile, and then hopefully go into the intestine, into the toilet. And you also need that movement coupled with bile, with the bile salts. So you need to be making your bile, and there's genetic defects that can hinder you from making bile. You can be, you can have problems with acetylation, and it's a little bit complicated, but really you need to be able to make your bile, and then you need to be able to get those toxins into the bile caniculus. And thirdly, to make the bile nice and not sludgy, you need phosphatidylcholine. Because if you don't have phosphatidylcholine, your bile is going to be really sludgy. And you hear about that when women get, fair, fat, and 40, they get their gallbladders taken out. Well, you need estrogen to make your phosphatidylcholine. If you don't have the phosphatidylcholine, your bile is sludgy and stuck, and you can't get your toxins out. And I really think that one of the reasons people can't lose weight is because when phase 2.5 isn't working, where are your toxins going to go? They're going to go right back into your bloodstream, and they're going to have to be sequestered in fat because they don't got anywhere else to go. Your escape plan, it's broken. It's just broken, so it's not working. So the $1 million question is, what limits toxin excretion, bile, and phosphatidylcholine production and secretion? And that is called phase 2.5. What limits it? Our body does this work of getting it into the cell, the toxin into the cell, going through phase 1, going through phase 2. It's all ready to go. It's just sort of like a bow on it, and then it's just stuck, and it can't get through. The door has been closed. Well, what's the number one thing that causes that? Inflammation. So if your patient is inflamed, their natural ability to get toxins out is shut. And when I read that, when I started studying the literature, the science, again, standing on some big shoulders, Decker and Shea did a wonderful paper about those MRP2 transporters, the door. I was like, wow, that makes sense, because when I had Lyme and I was really sick, I would go to well-meaning practitioners and they would put me on nutraceuticals and things that were upregulating my phase 1 and phase 2. And they're like, we're going to push those detox pathways. We're going to push those. I'm like, I feel like you're pushing me into the grave, because I feel horrible. I'm like, what is going on? Well, I was inflamed. I was completely inflamed. I had a chronic biotoxin running around in my blood, and my gut was a mess, and other things were, not right in my system. I was undernourished, and it was closed. The door was closed. So those toxins went right back into my blood. I take the glutathione. I'm like, I feel like death. Because the glutathione was making more, it was conjugating more toxins, but they were ending right up back in my bloodstream. And I think that was what a Herx is. Herx can be a Herx reaction. We've overwhelmed that ability.